There's been a lot of questions that coming from you guys, and I'm going to be addressing that in the first part right here. And the second part, we're going to be watching one of the former videos that we already did, because a lot of you guys are asking questions every week, and some of the sessions already covered those questions. So I do not want to make another brand new session, because that'll be the same subject. So we want to keep our video library smart, and like I said, Kim will be recording this first part of this session, this thing. What we're gonna do, it's really important, it's a brand new thing. And then the second part is gonna be a former video. I want everybody to watch. Please do not leave, everybody to watch, because we're gonna be taking some questions, and it's important that you guys watch it again, even if you've seen it again. Okay, all right guys, one more minute and I'll be starting. Okay, one more minute. Okay guys, so I'm going to be showing you guys in the 3-back system, with including the goalie, the simple, and 3 offensive players with a forward there too, so 4 offensive players. We're going to be kind of talking about some of the decision makings and some of the communications needed. Okay, so the first question that comes when you're dealing with, sometimes, you know, of course, you're going to have the offside mids involved. Sometimes the D mids are going to be involved. Sometimes forwards are going to even come back to help, right? But in this case, we're going to be really focusing on the minimum, so you can kind of talk about some simple decisions within the simpler places that we're going to be addressing. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about, number one, is keeper. Now, communication. We're going to start with communication. So keeper is pretty much the coach behind the goal. So behind the goal angle is able to see the whole field from a defensive perspective, and it's a very critical point of view. Sometimes I wish as a coach I can go there to see the defensive shape from a different angle, but unfortunately I can't, right? I have to stay in my position. So keepers are critical to be able to reshape the team defense and reshape the defense, and also making the defenders and the midfielders aware of what the other team is doing. So you are very critical. Now, I'm going to be asking some things. I'm going to be saying some things, and you guys are going to add to that. Now, goalkeeper communication. Number one for me is no shot. When a keeper says no shot, I see a shot. Some players, goalkeepers say, I see a shot, no shot. That means the player, the defender, is maybe marking the player, but this player is actually looking to shoot the ball. So the goalie is making the defense aware when he says no shot. Now, when he says no shot, the defender is aware that he needs to start sliding to be able to cover the shot angle. Does that make sense? So no shot is one, and you can use obviously different languages for that. And one of the other one is you can warn the center back sliding, maybe this guy. You can make this player aware that there is a forward in the blind spot. You can let him know, blind spot, forward, you know, stay more central. So like you can call the name of the player to come back to the center. You can direct the player that there is a dangerous player up here, or, you know, let's just say the player up here, and we are sliding a little bit too far, right? And we see that guy on the gap, so he sees this guy, and then a smart offensive player comes in here. Now, by the way, that decision right there is a good decision for an offensive player to stay on site, but wide from the player right here. So obviously right now the keeper is aware of it, what's everything going on, so he lets the defense know, back post, watch back post. So that's gonna be making this guy aware and this guy aware, so he can come more central position. Okay, and in this case it's really important that we use the right language and right numbers of the players, or like the names of the players, and what's going on and where it's going on. So back post, player back post, you can tell this player also at that point, no switch, don't let him switch, don't let him open the game, like constantly talking to your defenders. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna ask you guys, what else? At this point, I kind of covered no shot, right? Guy on the blind spot, forward coming in. You can say back post, so you let them defenders know maybe they slide a little bit too far, so they need to come back to center position. You can say more central, compact, right? You need to say that, so you see the defense maybe spread out too wide, and you're saying compact, so you want them to be more central. Come back to the center. That's what compact represents when you say that. All right, I want you guys to address now, post there, your answers about what else do you think the goalie should be communicating. Very good. TJ said he should let the defense know when he's coming up. Yeah, like a long ball came behind the defense and keeper says, mine, I got it. One of those is going to let the defense know he is going after the ball. So one of the defenders need to be covering the goalie just in case. All right. That's a very good point right there by Maddie Smith, saying that you can read it there probably, but they are when they're going to pick up the ball and telling the players man on is very critical. When there's a man on, yep, we kind of covered that. But this most important thing you said there, telling a defender to clear the ball. When do we use that? When when you see that the defender is dribbling the ball out, right? But defender is not aware this guy is coming at him like full speed in a blind spot. Now and there's a player coming in, and this is the perfect time for the keeper to communicate and say, clear the ball, get rid of it. Because that could be dangerous, right? That's a very good point. Outstanding point, Maddie. And yes, and then the second part is they should be communicating. Push up, especially in corners, guys. When they keep keeper as players inside the 6-yard, right? The moment the ball goes out, you need to be screaming. Keeper needs to be screaming. Push up, step up. All those things need to be said so the players do the right thing. So a lot of players that doesn't really understand that perspective, especially offensive players. They say stuff like dodgy, but what is the big deal? Like if we don't push up right away, I mean we're still because you're keeping everybody on side, and we need to step up to the shot cross already. So a lot of players are going to be stepping up, and one or two of you guys staying inside the 6. Any good forward in the blind spot, they're going to be staying with you. And you're going to keeping them on side, and 2 players staying behind could keep like 5-6 offensive players on side. So that's why you got to push up, okay? Even though we don't do zonal we do zonal defense, but we don't do offside trap. You got to push up at least to outside the box to be able to give that space to the keeper to cover, and not giving anybody an inside the box space. Do you understand? So that's really important that you communicate that. Let's see, Javad say, yes, keeper can say when the out players have the ball, when they need to be switching the ball. When is like what we talk about, Javad, like as a center mid, when you recognize the other team is sliding as a center mid to one side, you want them to slide as many as you can, and when to open the game, and that'll be your responsibility. So when keeper says that, switch the ball to an outside player, you got to be involved. So a long switch from one side to another is a very dangerous ball. So involvement of the center mid is critical. That's a big point, by the way. I hope you heard that, Javad, and anybody else. Please, I hope you guys understand that. Yeah, Ava, you can tell them to be wide, but not because you can have a better view. You say to players go wide when you want to open the game to them. Do you understand? So when you have the possession of the ball, you tell the goalie tells the player to go wide, so we can spread out and get ready to be in an attacking position. Okay? Yep, exactly. Rafa says about Keeper should be telling everyone when he's seeing, especially the back line. Like, everybody needs to know what keeper has to say in many ways, but like I'm more asking about what language you want to see. Very big point. I was looking for that, Jawad. The gaps in the field, right? The gaps that you leave behind. The keeper and the center back is responsible to let everybody know about those gaps. Big point, Jawad. Well done. So that gaps right there, like this gap, if there's a defensive mid, let's just say right here, and he's stepping too high and there's a big gap suddenly here, a good number 9, number 10 is going to be filling this gap, and it's going to be a very dangerous play for us. So we want to make sure that we do not give them that chance. Do you understand? So that's a great position, great question and comment, because keeper can see all that from his view, right? Keeper and the center back is able to see all that. Let me see if there's anything. Yes, very good point, Eva. The keeper also can say, like, let's just say this player has the ball and you see the keeper sees the right mid is coming back to help. Keeper can say, hey, right mid now, wide now, wide now. When you say that, now you see that you can see that player and then go if he hasn't been looking there, right? So the keeper communicating is such a big must, guys. Is critical. Hey, great comments, by the way. Let me see if there's many more. Yes, we covered that, Madison. Very good point. Communicate when the opposition is coming in on a blind spot. We covered that, but very good point. Yeah, short comments, like Gilberto says, is critical. Like that's why usually I hear keepers like no shot. When they say something like that, they see a shot and they're letting you know that you do not want to give them that shot. So no cross, no switch, or blind spot, compact, like simple comments like that. Like I said, that's the communication thing I was looking for from all of you guys to kind of come up with more communication things that you guys can say. Okay, so same idea. Now we're gonna be really focusing on what a center back should say. So I'm gonna start now. Center back's responsibility, of course, he needs to be a little bit deeper than the other two in a 3-back system, especially. Now he sees this player has the ball. He's gonna have to tell him to step, but not all the way. Like he's just gonna say to right back by name. Let's just say Kylie talking to Riley. Riley, step! But Riley cannot overstep and get beat and leave a lot of space. She just needs to step to cover the goal and across immediately. So that means that you're going to come back to the center, not too far, right? And this guy is going to come back to the center and we're not going to slide too far. Does that make sense? So step is one, right? Step to the player. Another one is, let's just say over the ball comes in and it goes over this defender and he sees that he can get to the ball first. I got it, cover me, got it, cover me. So now this player is running back to this way to cover him, and all we see, it's also talking to this player, and now keeper is aware of what's going on. He's going for the ball, correct? So it's important that we communicate that, okay? For the center back, yeah, push up is a good one. Just like the keeper needs to be saying push up, the center back also needs to use that language as well as the keeper. Okay, so let's just say the ball is here. There's a lot of the question comes, Dodgy, I don't know what to do when there's a player right here and there's a player with the ball coming. Okay, so you do need to step if the player coming from here. Cover me. So that means that the other two is going to be coming more central, and this is the shape that you're going to be. Okay, cover me. At this point, the communication of the keeper and these two center backs is critical. They need to take charge and start talking rest, because the moment the center back is off position, they need to be communicating about what's gonna come next. Okay? Do you understand? So that step, cover me, I got it, I step, over me. Those are good communication for a center back. And open the game, drop, so like if this player just stole the ball from this player and he doesn't see an option, the pressure is coming at him hard, right? The center back can say go behind him, and of course when he says drop, that gives the cue to this player to come back to center. You drop a little bit wide, and the moment you drop, of course you need to come back, and that means this guy is going to be coming back. That gives an opportunity to see a long ball or a wide ball for the next play. Does that make sense? I got it, cover me, right? Those are very critical language. Yeah, so anything else you guys want to add to the center back language? So I covered some of the main ones, but there is a lot of good ones out there that I haven't covered. So what else do you want to say about the center backs? What else can they say? What else can they communicate? Very good. Jason says face out is a big one. What does that mean? A cross is going to come. We need to be saying now deep. So this player is going. We got to say deep, so the other center backs, we're going to be getting ready for a cross and face up. Now we're facing out. So we can easily, if a ball cross comes, facing out means, I'm looking this way, right? So when I look at that way, I can also see what's in front of me. So when a cross comes, I can pass a one touch to this guy and then we can attack. Or if there's a guy right here, or, let's just say right there, you can actually be able to see it right away and respond to that. Does that make sense? So deep and face out is critical. Those are good language that you can use. Yeah, they can talk to the D-mids to stay back, stay deep. Very good. Javad, great subject again. They can also see. You guys are making great points. But I don't see you guys using these languages in the play. You're quiet. You don't actually say something. Please self-judge yourself. I'm talking to especially the pro guys. You're making amazing sense right now, but you're not really doing it. Okay? So you got to make sure you do it. So center back also can warn a player when there's a man on, to even the midfielders, right? That's a good vision. Like I said, I kind of covered that already, but that's a good point to make again. I like it. Yes, exactly, Eva. Like when they should step to the player, or when they should stay deep. They can decide that, right? I just want you guys to understand, like a lot of guys, when you're backing up, you can do zonal defense to a point, but if you give 10 yards to a player, you're asking this player to show off his shooting skills and his passing ability. We can never give that kind of space to the player. You got to step right away. And if you're worried about the center forward to be really dangerous, you can always send a right back or a left back by name. Tell him to step if it's in the center area and you don't want to step. Then you're gonna bring this guy to the center so you can actually slide a little bit. Yes, he can stay right here. He can even be here, but because you can both come back to the center and cut in, right? So that's a big one. Slide, very big point, Kim. Slide, right? Slide. So the ball is up there, especially when we're attacking. We need to start sliding just a little bit, not too much for our center backs. But you can say that slide not to defense alone, to your team, to your center mids, to your outside mids. Slide, slide. That's a big point. Big language right there, Kim. Well done. Okay. I'm going to move on unless you guys have something to add. That's a good one. Very good. Ava put another good comment there again. They could tell someone go into space, and they shouldn't, but yes, they can, and they gotta tell them. Sometimes you gotta lead players who are maybe not experienced players. Maybe they're kind of having a moment, thinking about their life and their schoolwork and whatever. At that moment, they're having a pause moment. Like, you know, Japanese cartoons, every time something happens, they go like 20 minutes of thinking about their life before they do something at that moment. So maybe they're going through something like that, so you just need to make them aware. Yeah, I mean, there is an opening, you need to let them know there's an opening. So you need to let them know, to lead them to the right area. So if you can understand the importance of a keeper and a center back start the communication, it will follow with the rest of the team. But if the goalie and a center back is quiet, that's also affecting the rest of the team. You understand? It starts with those two guys because they have the best vision in the field, and they should be telling people what to do. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna be straight up with you. As goalie, center back, and in some point in the attacking half, center mids, you know, talking will make your teams success about 30-40% more. I'm telling you, it will change the way you guys play. Okay, important point. All right, the most important, guys, player in this case, when the ball is on the side and a cross gonna come. So the center back obviously gonna be talking. This guy is gonna be stepping to the player. Center back is going deep, right? So I want you guys to pay attention to this. The most important communication person when the ball is on the opposite side is the farthest guy in defense. And sometimes this guy could be an outside mid coming back. So the farthest guy, why is it so important? The ball is going to come from there because any offensive player can go in any of these blind spots. Obviously here you're aware of it, but here you're not, and you can't just go mark this guy and keep this place open, right? So the furthest guy, let's just say he's not here, is important that he talks to the rest of the defense. Okay, and if there's a player behind him, of course, if the goalie sees him, he can let him know, but the furthest guy needs to start talking at this point more than usual. Does that make sense? Make a comment about this, please, guys, so you understand, because the furthest guy, this doesn't have to be, like I said, an outside back on the furthest side. That could be an outside mid. This is very critical information. That opposite side communication is critical, guys. Critical. It could save goals. Like, you have no idea. Do you know how many times you were here and this guy saw this guy, so he went really close to him, but he wasn't aware this guy is like sneaking in. So when a cross comes, you didn't say anything. You didn't say anything. Back post. Cover back post. Player behind you. To the player. Say a name. You know, like just to say, Juan, player behind you. And now Juan is not going to actually step as much. And this guy's also going to be aware. He's going to be sliding. And you also need to start coming in this way, right? So it's important that you guys opposite side communicate. It's critical. It's critical that you do. Okay? Alright, so we're going to be talking about some offensive communication now. And I'm going to put an extra D mid in here and offensive communication for that. Sure, Ava. So opposite side, when the ball is all the way up there, they can see the whole line of defense. Okay? So let's just say this area is clear to this player. He can see what's coming in and what's not, right? So when you just ask the center back to communicate, he doesn't see. He has to face the ball because it's here. When the ball is here, he can see all the sides, right? He can check both sides. When the ball is wide, though, you know, he needs to go deep and he needs to make sure he's covering this player, so he needs to slide, right? So the idea with that is the furthest guy becomes responsible to take over the communication for the center back at that point. So a lot of goals can be prevented for the opposite side defender talking, or opposite side outside mid. Whoever on the furthest side, it's critical that you're not quiet. Okay? Does that make more sense? There's a lot of interaction today. I'm really happy, guys. I really didn't expect this many interaction. I'm really super happy with you guys. Thank you. I appreciate that. We might not have the whole video showing, which is good. I'm okay with that. Like, I love this interaction, so I'm thankful. Unless there's any other questions or comments, I'm gonna start with the offensive talks. So let's just say this is Javad or TJ, and he has the ball. So this is the things that are happening. So let's just say we give more options. You know what? I'm gonna set up actually a realistic one. Let's go with an outside forward, and obviously we can have outside mids too, but I'm gonna minimize it to this right now. Okay, so let's just say they're dealing with the two D mids as well, and we have the two forwards on the outsides, and we are just gonna minimize it for now, so you guys can make it easier. Obviously, there's gonna be more players in the game, but just simplifies the communication. Now, what are the things you can say as when you have this player, when you have the ball right here, and this happens a lot, by the way. Players on the outside, they think that they can get the ball closer, but they're not aware that there is so much defensive pressure that could come in the center. So the center mid's communication starts at this point. He needs to say to this player, let's just say this is Carlos. Javad says to Carlos, Carlos, go wide! So when he goes wide now, he has more space to deal with, right? And also, he could take the attention of this player and clear his way to go. And not only his way, if there's a player pressuring him, that could clear the forward's way for the through ball, bomb, and this guy's in, this guy's running, from there, blind spot, he's coming in, this defender is coming, blind spot again, this player coming in, he stays in the blind spot right here, a cross comes, a good curving cross, and he's here to finish the goal. Does that make sense? So, him saying that little communication right there, and this is one thing that you guys are thinking you're doing great, you're amazing, you're incredible. Oops, we lost everyone. You're doing great. You are, amazing decisions, and you're blaming all your teammates for what's not happening, right? But maybe it's not their fault all the way. Maybe it is your fault a little bit to this too. Maybe you're just not a good leader. And I'm gonna tell you this, guys, like, you cannot be playing in any kind of center position without communication. Like, so if a Seattle University coach, Peter Fewing, is watching you and you're not leading your team in the center area, why would he pick you? Okay, like, when we played against the Spokane, Washington East, they had 4 players that signed for University of Washington, UW. And 2 of them were center mids, and you should see these guys. They just were like the coach in the field. Like, give him a coach outfit, they were there. They were in the center mid, telling everybody what to do. This is what it is, guys. Like, you don't understand the importance of the communication as you should, because you leading people to tell them what to do is critical. So let's just say this pressure is coming here. The player went wide, okay? But this player did a good job covering that area. So now you can say to a player beside you, yeah, go deeper a little bit, so he can have a better vision to even see that pass. You see that? Now he's deeper. Don't let him be here, because the ball is coming, he can't see here, number one, right? And he can't see necessarily what the pressure is coming from here, and it could be a pressure coming from there. But if the pressure is coming from there and you're deep, right, you can see all that. So when the ball is dropped to you, you can see this through ball, you can see that long ball, and you can even have time to open the game back behind you somewhere. So it's critical that you tell him that too, and obviously this player needs to do that anyway. Okay, or he can say, this player can say, drop. but please don't get rid of this bad habit of like flatline this like I do not want to say club names here because people are watching from other clubs. Actually, some of my friends been very excited about watching this stuff. I do not want to bash other clubs right now, but this is the flat like square ball forever the rest of your life is the reason that the clubs in Washington is staying in the same level. This thing right here, when you go a little bit deeper to be able to see the next ball, is critical. Okay, what else can a center mid do? Give me through ball to a forward. Oh, check. Okay, the forward checks in between the two players. Okay, and what else can you say? Now I covered some of the major ones. Okay, what else can a center mid say to communicate? You can tell the guys to take the space. That's the same as going wide, right? But you know, you just need to let him switch. Is a good one, Madison. Switch the ball. But sometimes the switch the ball command should come from the other center mid, because let's just say this guy has something going on, but this guy is a little bit deeper, right? This is a key point, by the way. You're seeing that let's just say there's another player right here and going to that player, but this guy looks like he made his mind up. Okay, so let's just say this is Jawad is about to give a through ball pass or whatever, but this guy is covering fast, and you can see that they're sliding too far, and it will be better to switch the ball. This guy, like TJ, let's just say, says, Jawad, switch the ball. And then Jawad makes a good movement and open the game to the other side. So the deeper guy, in this case, should be able to communicate that for sure. Yeah, and like I said, I already covered that drop. Especially you have a better vision, and every attack should be orchestrated to be organized by the center mids, right? So they drop the ball, but you need to also be aware of what you're gonna do next. So you can't be asking for a drop if you have no clue yourself what to do next, right? So if you're gonna be asking for a drop in here, and that could be, maybe you could see this forward making a diagonal run, right, to the shoulder of the player, let's just say. So you say drop, and your next pass is going to be through ball right here. Forward is one-on-one. You score the goal. But you need to have a plan if you guys are going to be asking for a drop. So always check around you if you guys are going to communicate that. Yes, you can lead the pressure, that where you should be stepping, where they're thinking about going. You can definitely do that. Kate says they can say that they can check your shoulder to the forwards, so they're aware that pressure is coming behind them. That's great. Anything else you guys can think of? Ava, you need to just communicate it loud and keep it going. More and more you communicate, even that, just don't give up. If you're communicating and they're not listening to you, sooner or later they're gonna start listening to you, right? So you need to start, keep doing it. Just don't give up because you don't think that they're listening to you. Okay, got it, TJ. Yeah, TJ is talking about step in, like with the ball. You have space. I usually say, you got space, use it, right? Like if this player is like a lot of space, why pass the ball before you can actually take the attention and clear this guy's way even more? So right now you see the player and he's open, you can give the pass, but maybe you're a center mid that is smart, he's dribbling in, and now this player is asking, come in because he's dribbling, now he releases the ball, and that is even more dangerous, right? Right away it becomes a problem for the other team. You can tell the forwards back shoulder run, but that communication right there, Kate, could make the defenders aware of what's coming. So I wouldn't use that as much. Just maybe use a simpler language like diagonal runs. So you don't give too much information to the defenders, because diagonal runs can come from anywhere, right? So a couple things about this now. If you have any questions, please let me know. I wanted to cover some of those languages. We want to make sure that, yeah, one touch, I like that. I saw that. One touch. Why do we use one touch? Because you're under pressure, right? Or you see a player that is wide open and you want to make sure you move the ball as quick as you can, right? Though that's important. So I'm going to be starting this. Some of the questions came from this one. So let's cover it a little bit, and then I will take you guys' questions and comments. 3-4-3 is another good thing about it. 3-4-2 or 3-4-3. Another good thing about it. Anybody who plays a center back for a 3-defender system becomes a solid center back for any different tactic. A 4-defender tactic, of some of my defenders went to a 4-defender and made it very simple for them. The only problem they faced is I pull the defense very deep, and most of the Washington State coaches plays really high defense, sometimes even offside trap. We do not know why. I do not know why they play an offside trap. Offside trap is a tough thing to do. At a professional level, it's a doable thing because they're all on the same page. But in a youth level, I feel like it's a tough thing to achieve. But like I said, I'm not against it. It's just not my style of play. So, hard-working midfielders is a number one priority for a 3-4-3, as most of the defending will be happening in the offensive and the midfield area. So these people need to be fit, they need to be aggressive, they need to be winning every ball on air, and they need to be able to, when they lose the ball, recover as a team quickly. So they need to be disciplined as well. Forwards need to be hardworking as well. They need to be able to know how to defend as well as finishing. They need to be all-around player. They need to be moving and they need to be fit as well. Off-the-ball movement is very important for forwards, and follow the direction of the ball is very important for our forwards. Defenders need to be, number one thing for me, they need to be great on air because we are a very compact team. A lot of the weaknesses will be allowing crosses, so they need to be extremely good on air. They need to be winning every header, and they need to be winning every ball. And my rule is one bounce is too many. So you want to make sure that when the ball is coming inside the box or around the box, we do not let that ball bounce. And if you're under pressure, I get that you might want to clear it, but if you have the time, you need to be able to find your players. That's why you need to be aware of your players, and that will be happening if you guys communicate. So communication is very important in the back, goalie and defense. Now we're going to go into goalie. Goalie needs to be obviously a great passer. They need to be good at their feet. That's why we try to make sure that keeper has good foot skills. They need to be not a line goalie because they need to be able to come out a lot. They need to be good at high balls. They need to be vicious. They need to be aggressive. And if the quiet, passive line goalies will not survive in a 3-back system. I'm going to leave you guys with that information. I'm going to give you about a minute to kind of go over what we just said. And I hope if you have a question, do it. Otherwise, we're going to be moving on to choose the type of players we should be finding for you to watch and idolize for the system, for your positions that fit into the system. Okay? All right, guys, we're going to go on to the next one. Keeper. Who should you watch, idolize for our system? Always the keeper, like I said, needs to be smart, needs to be active, needs to be good on air, coming out, not a line goalie, very vocal, needs to be a little crazy at times. My coach used to say little attitude for a keeper is acceptable. Okay, so I want you to tell me, who do you think this will be perfect? Give me some professional players you know of that will fit into this perfectly, this description. Stephen Mosley says Oliver Kahn, which is a former German national. You can talk about former players to watch, that's great. These are the goalies. So if you said Neuer definitely would be fitting into that system of play really well. So, next one. Who should you watch as a defender? We're talking about center backs. So, center backs, they need to be smart. They need to be communicative. They need to be a leader, all of them. They need to be very technical player. They can't just boot the ball every single time. They need to possess the ball when they need to, and they're smart enough to know when they're under pressure they won't risk it. So 100%. Meanwhile, not taking any risks. Don't foul stupid fouls around the box or inside the box. They know how to stand the player up. They're very patient with the ball. What kind of players? Who would be the players to watch? Forward. Playing a center back, please take a note of these names. So, all very good on air, all very active, all very smart with the ball, all talkative leaders. And I want you to pay attention to the last name, Denier. He plays for Belgium national team. He's a young guy, and he's also playing for Lyon in France. Incredibly fit into the system of 3-back. I've seen him play a 3-back system before. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Chiellini and Bonucci, both of them are used to playing 3-back system, and Van Dijk played a 3-back system before as well. So they all know how to play this system very well, and they are very solid on air. Alright guys, I'm going to move it a little bit forward. Robin, for the center back, is a great example. Cannavaro will be like my center back. Defensive midfields. Defensive midfields were really successful. We had an absolutely amazing, the first one, Rio, the skill and brain of the midfield. And then we kept changing the other one. The muscle was Kevin for a while. We had Carlos tried that for a while. We had Ridley, trained that for a while. So it's hard to find that because you also need to be skilled and technical as well. But you need to do most of the defensive work. So find 2 players you think that would be fitting perfectly to this. But you need to understand before you start saying this, they're not just going to be technical players. They both need to come back. They need to have their work rate to be able to come back when they need to. So I already see some of you guys naming some names. Like when they go up, are they going to be able to run back? Alright, let's go a little bit further. Definitely, especially the way that you're supposed to defend. And I'm a big fan of De Jong and Conte. All right. Back in the day, I just wanted to show you guys that part, before we continue, because there's been a lot of questions that came about explanation of the positions. I'm going to ask you now a question. What is the responsibility, the biggest responsibilities of a center forward? In the 3-4-3 system, not the outside forwards, but the center forward. Checking in, spreading, or distributing the ball to other forwards. Very good. That's a good point from Hector. Another one I would say is important is you are very strong. You're very fast. You need to be moving a lot. So even if you cannot match up with the speed and strength, you still need to be very, very mobile. You need to be able to take attention and mess up the defense's balance. You need to be constantly moving, right? So as a forward or as a center mid, what type of forwards in a center forward do you think is good? Like we talked about some of the mentality, like poacher mentality. We got the false nine. We got target forward. You know, right? We got kind of like a typical number nine to do all of it, all of those jobs, and depends on the situation. So, what do you look for? Either as a forward yourself, what do you want to be? I'm curious. Or, I see that Jawad says, desire to score and turn every chance into a goal. That's a poacher mentality for sure. Making diagonal runs, Nate, is a big one. The diagonal ones checking in is like, if you do not want a forward that's checking in every time. That's some of the forwards in our club does that, and it's not allowing us to see any space behind the goal anymore, because that's all they want to do, because they're lazy. That's all they want to do. They just want to check in every single time. Okay, that's not what we want. Lewandowski, absolutely, Jason is the best example. Back in the day, Drogba, obviously. Back in the day before that, Van Basten. Ibrahimovic, when he was more mobile, I did not like the way he plays now, more like a target forward now, but the standing target forward. I don't like the way he plays now, but also, I don't know if you guys know Icardi. Cavani and Icardi is like in their prime. It's outstanding to do that job as well. Yeah, TJ says he likes strong forwards who create chances to score. Well, I think what he's talking about is the ones that can beat a defender physically, 50-50 ball, and create a chance for us. I think that's definitely hard to find, and see, that's one of the strengths. Like when we put Isaac there, I think strength-wise he's up there. If he made more runs, strength-wise he's strong enough to go through that and beat people. And Dylan can physically do that, and also strong enough. Sometimes I see Dylan when he doesn't train, a lot. You can see Dylan goes down with the strength, or his stamina, so he can't do that strength every time, right? So it's important that we do stay in shape for that position. Yeah, outstanding example, Jawad. Drogba is absolutely outstanding. Even at his time, when he was older at Galatasaray, we were dominating teams in Champions League, and the goal that he scored against Real Madrid in the quarterfinals in Istanbul was incredible, and the way that he played in that game at that age was incredible, absolutely incredible. So a question: what do we expect now? We kind of saw examples of the other ones, but I wanted to know now with the explanation. So what do you expect from an outside mid? What is the qualifications if you're applying to the job of outside mids and you are sending your resume? What am I looking for in outside mids for our team? And then I want you guys to, after that, give me also some good examples. Agüero, I agree. I don't like Agüero last couple of years, Jawad. But when he was first, arrived to Manchester City, that Agüero that was constantly moving, constantly doing a lot of stuff, and messing up the defenses. I see Agüero moving a lot less now. Obviously, if you have Agüero, you want him. But if you have to choose from the Agüero 5-6 years ago to Agüero now, I will choose the Agüero 5-6 years ago. We did a session last week about outside mids, which was very important for us to see. One of the coaches said, can you actually draw that drill to the thing while I'm waiting for you guys to send? Do you see that the red lines, I'm gonna get rid of this, the red lines. All right, so the red lines represent the you know, the cones. So the player starts from here, the last week's run, he runs back to back one. That's for when he's in the defensive position and he finds the player. And the second one, he goes back, he runs to the other one. This is more on the offensive side. So the ball comes in, he touches it forward, he goes around the ball, he crosses it to the player, and the player tries to finish it, right? And this one is he comes back, backs up towards the center as a defensive line, and then he goes back to the end line and makes a diagonal run this way, and the forward releases it, and you either cross the ball or, you know, shoot it yourself. Does that make sense? Alright, so some of the answers are coming in now. Let's see. Let's see. You need to be a great crosser and in shape and distance passing. I think that's important, Jason. I agree. Joe says speed, smarts, and touch. Very important as well. Jason says against Trent Alexander-Arnold would be the perfect good outside mid for us. I agree. I like him a lot. For me, the perfect outside mid for my system is Philip Lahm. I don't know if you guys know him, but Philip Lahm is definitely my favorite. Javad says great crossing, stamina, speed, very good. Skills to beat players in one-on-one situations, yes. In the offensive side, only Javad. Because we don't have right back and left backs, you do not want to use your amazing skills in our defensive half. Unless you get a very good cover, maybe. But like most of the time, no. Persistence to keep making good runs, even if they don't get the ball, is a very big point. They need to do it, and they need to keep doing it. Just because you don't want to run back and you don't make that run, one or two times you make that run going forward, it's definitely incredible. You need to make sure that you keep doing that. You can change the result of the game. Defensive discipline is very important, yep. Outside mids need to have great stamina and crossing ability, yes. Madison says aggressive, able to cross, good at defense, good at stamina, fast, realize when to check in. Yes. The biggest point there is good at defense, right? Hector also great point. Comeback, also attack, know to capitalize, pick and choose your battles. Coming back to defense is critical for this position, for sure, in 3-5-2, Joe. Or 3-4-3. So, I think you guys covered the good ones. Examples, like I said, Philip Lahm would be a good one. Last time people said a couple really bad examples. But definitely you need to be able to understand, you need to be able to defend. You know, and you need to be able to attack as well. So you need to have both the qualities as an outside mid. So you need to be able to score goals when you need to, in the back post, when a cross coming. You need to be that far up and also ready to attack, to cross the ball, and ready to defend when we are coming back. When we lose the possession of the ball, you need to run right back to defensive side. You don't have to press yet. You just need to be able to understand that. Well, Jawad, that's different. When Manchester United was playing a 4-4-2 or 4-5-1 system, he played an outside mid, but he also had a left back and a right back. So his responsibilities wasn't so much on the defensive side. I'm talking about Ronaldo. He's giving an example. He doesn't have, you know, in our system, Ronaldo will never play there because he doesn't have anybody to cover his back, right? So he's not going to do that work back and forth. He's not that type of player. But, you know, an offensive player who has the stamina and work rate that can do that, you know, very offensive mind, but can do the defensive work is probably Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale could play really good offensive side of that 3-5-2 outside mid or 3-4-3 outside mid, but also he can actually defend as well, and he is able to run back as well. I think that could be an offensive good choice when you want somebody more offensive on the outside mid that will defend but also going to be attacking more and more, right? So like last year I put we were playing a game, we already won the league. I mean that team already won the league, but one of the games that we were already winning against one of the teams in the mid section, it was guaranteed. So I wanted to try for the pro season. Our forward Rogelio, amazing talent. I put him in the right mid, and I put another amazing talent outside. I mean the center mid and the center back, and even forward Juan Castillo to left mid. And you should have seen these guys. I told them they had to defend. And Jawad, like you said, like they are both technical players, and they did an outstanding job of defending. And we were getting in so many options on the outside. The player gets the ball, they were gone. They knew they wanted to attack, and they were screaming, "Give me the ball! Open the game! Right side, right side!" Like, so they were constantly talking because they wanted the ball, and they loved it. You know, when you have players who wants to score goals on the outside, it's so good. Like, that's why it's so boring to watch some of these guys. We explain to them, the moment you lose the ball, you need to come back to defend, but that doesn't mean you're gonna be a boring person, right? You know, like just because we say that, you know, you're gonna be, let's just say, you're gonna be defending all the time. That doesn't mean that, you know, you don't attack. That doesn't mean we have the ball, possession of the ball. Your role is completely different now. You are an offensive player. You can think of yourself as a right forward. Those guys who thinks like, I'm gonna score. We have the ball, I wanna score. And that attitude makes the best outside mids. Outstanding outside mids. Hector could remember, if any of the Steelers guys are here, that's why Marcus was incredible. And when I put Kate there too on the outside, you know, and Carlos, I put Carlos, Kate, and Marcus there. They just wanted to score every time. Like, it was incredible, and they knew they had to come back, but they just wanted to keep going up there. And Marcus assisted some key assists and scored some beautiful goals from outside mid. And a lot of you guys are thinking that outside mid is like just a right back or a left back. Okay, like it's not. You can actually think offense, and sometimes you need to understand we don't attack as much because the outside mids are not thinking offense. Did you hear what I just said? Because they are just always wanting to defend. If you don't have width, you do not have outside support, you can't be possessing the ball in the offensive side, because it always comes back to this. You get in trouble in the center because every team is going to defend the center. You need an outlet. If you don't have an outlet, you're going to lose that ball and it's coming back. So you're just going to be defending the whole game. So an outside mid who doesn't attack, just get ready to defend the whole game, because that's all you're going to do. Does that make sense? Please comment about what I just said. Important point, coach. And some of you guys, you might be playing different positions. So there are games that I might play a center mid on the outside, like, you know, that does a good job technically. So I want to possess the ball, so I'm going to play a center mid type of player on the outside mid. That's very doable. Very true, TJ. TJ says teams do stuff in the middle. If our outside mids don't join the attack, we have limited options. And it's honestly, if you don't have an outlet in the outside, TJ, you will sooner or later gonna lose that ball. If the other team is compact and a good defense, like, it's a very small chance that you're gonna be successful every single time, right? Like, you're gonna be maybe successful out of 40 times, maybe 4 times. But if you are having outside mid attack, you can spread out the defense, and it's gonna cause more and more problems. I think the players and parents, you know, they always like, we put a kid on the outside mid, they're like, oh, my kid is a forward, he wants to score goals, or she wants to score goals, it's amazing, like, and but they don't understand the importance of an outside mid actually changing the whole outlet of the game. Okay, so like one of the top positions that, you know, gets the most scholarships and most money in the soccer world is a left back. And if you ask soccer parents, you know, they'll be like, oh my god, my son cannot play that, he just needs to score goals. Like, dude, like, that's completely different perspective. You need to start listening to the world of soccer. Like, forwards are not the big deal anymore. That was like 40 years ago. Yeah, we enjoy forwards, we love forwards, and the audience love forwards, but when it comes to coach's expectation, he needs to have a good center back. He needs to have a good D mid. He needs to have good outside players, and everything else comes later. Okay, so those are very important, guys. Steven Gerrard was good. For the outside, you can research this, Jawad. If you're gonna go with the English players, I don't personally like the English soccer that much, but English players, Paul Scholes was the absolute incredible to open the game to outside players and involved outside. If you watch Paul Scholes' long passes, research that, it's an example player. Pirlo, obviously, you know, is one. You know, Patrick Vieira was outstanding involving the outside players. Yeah, and that's exactly, TJ. It makes it really hard for the center mids to look good. So like if you're playing center mid, if you don't have outside options, it's gonna make you look bad. Like, that's the bottom line. Claudio, yeah, of course speed is the key, but think about this. Like, when I play with you guys, I'm an injured guy, both knees are gone, but am I open? Even on the outside, am I open? It's more important is, Claudio, is your mind. Like, every time you guys got the ball, am I open for you? Even in the outsides, you know that I sometimes slide to outside automatically to be able to get in a crossing position, right? So am I open for you? Am I in an offensive position that I can receive and get in a immediate crossing position? Yes, because it's more about thinking offense, thinking goals. That's what outside mids gotta think. Everybody needs to think goals when we have the ball. All right, I am really appreciative of the involvement today. It was great. Like, everybody is doing more involvement. Girls, well done. Guys, well done. Especially the pro guys. Good job with your involvement. I appreciate you guys. This was definitely a great session because of you, not because of me. That was great. I'm really proud of you. Thanks for tonight. I really liked this session. I guess, Kim, you can record this whole thing. This was great, guys. Well done. Good job. We're gonna be doing a session. Guys, get ready for soon. We're gonna be starting training small groups of 5 with coaches. But none of you guys are allowed to come in unless you register. Please make sure you registered. And just let you know that we froze the payments in May to help everybody out, but the payments are coming back up because soon we need to start paying for the summer league and some of this other stuff that we need to pay for. So we do need to survive as a club. So the auto payments are going to be starting next month. So thanks, guys.